Hi everybody. Well, it's cold here. I think winter's coming. We went for a walk downtown this morning, headed out early. We had to mail a couple things and thought we'd do a little walk downtown, but people down there don't get up too early, and it was 9:30. So, well, we decided to walk up and down. Let's see, there's maybe 5 or 6 blocks to our downtown. We have one small mall and another bigger mall, and it's all one floor. We have nothing 2 floors high here. And then we have a small Walmart also further out of town. But the basic downtown here is very small, just maybe 5 or 6 blocks. So it doesn't take too long to do a little walk, but you know how often we do it when we walked in this little store. And we go, how long have you been here? And, she says 3 years. It's the first time we've been in there. Oh boy, we don't usually frequent those stores. They're a little too ritzy for us, too expensive. We're the thrift store people. And Walmart, of course. So anyway, aside from that, we did get our exercise this morning, and I'm glad to have you joining me because today is the repot of the yellow orchid. Somebody mentioned they have an orchid like this, and it was called Fuller Sunset. So I put a little butterfly on, and I put a name, Fuller Sunset. I thought that would be nice. I had a small one like this I called Lemon Surprise because of the surprise being the center. And I painted the inside of the butterfly kind of to go with the flower, but I have not done anything with this orchid since I seen you last. I misted it a couple times, that's it. And I haven't even watered it to repot it today. So there's a couple roots I do not like the look of. And of course, I'll show you a close-up. This turned out, it is so smooth and so shiny. And on because it's a road cone, so it's flexible, it's the perfect coating for it because it's flexible. So yeah, it dried, it turned out so nice. So anyway, it will be sitting in here, and we're going to repot it. I have my bark that I soaked last time and didn't use, so I put it to soak again for 24 hours. It's ready to go. I have a little bit of charcoal, Dutch Treat charcoal. That's what I use. So I have a little bit of that, and I have some crushed pieces of mortar that's off of old bricks that I'll sprinkle on the top when I'm done, and then when it's watered, it'll go through it. Eventually do it good. So we're going to get at it. Of course, this is the large traffic cone that I painted. And it's so funny because I painted aerial roots on it, and now some of the aerial roots are growing alongside the ones I painted. Anyway, I love the aerial roots, and some people might be thinking, how am I ever going to repot it? Well, I have repotted some terracotta pots where the roots were stuck, and I ended up just soaking it good, and then very carefully I got them loose. So I'm not too worried, and the holes are big enough, they should all come out. And so that, and this was one of my first Demco-pores. And it got a lot more of the little bubbles, but it always is going to have stripes because it's running down. Oh, and I should show you all the little flowers coming out. Yeah. There's been so little sun lately, they're just kind of leaning towards the window. They were all kind of facing that way. So that was also a dirty pour, and so was the red heater pot a dirty pour. The same nice finish, but this time it wasn't as runny, and eventually it made a really nice, a nice thick, and I didn't waste any. Forgot to bring the tile in. Next time I'm going to do something with it. So let's get at it. If I keep gabbing away here, we won't get anything done. So first, I'm going to kind of take it out of here, and as you can see, it's quite dry because I have not done anything at all. But it's going to go in nice. And now this moss, it feels, it's dry, but in the center, as you know, because it's always so thick right in the center, because I was going to wait, that's the part I reached way up inside, and I made sure I had that plug that's always in the center removed. There's some roots here that I'm not really liking too much, but we'll just clean it up and we'll get it. I know, another repotting video, but you know what? Every orchid is different, and you never know what you're going to find. And I'm going to show you. I always make a mess. I'll be sweeping the floor. But you see this root? There. This root is in very bad shape. This is quite brown. You can see that. And then it comes again, and it's fine. So what I'm doing is just making sure I have all that. I'm going to leave it because, as you see, it's doing some good. At some time, this must have got burnt with something, because this one is the same. And it's a long time ago, because you can see that, you know, this has been like that for a long time. I'm going to sweep the floor after. Now there's a broken root in there. So, I know. I don't really worry about it. It's just a matter of running and getting the broom and the dustpan, and it's picked up. Okay, we don't want to break anything else if we can help it. So let me just go back over here. Oh, there's a tiny little leaf in there. Just tiny. So there's another broken root, and that's been broken a long time. Yeah, that doesn't look too good. I didn't mean to throw it down there, though. Yeah. I don't like to take the flowers off the spikes. It's just more off of the stakes. It's just more for it to cope with. So I try and hold it and then do my best to get that stuff out of there. I don't like to leave any behind. Yeah, they must have burnt it at some time. I see a few roots that look quite black or something. There's a real broken one there. I don't know where that one. See. Now, if you can see this one, see? It's quite black, and yet the root comes down. So I don't know if it was something with fertilizer. I'm thinking more fertilizer, because a sunburn probably wouldn't have. It would show on the leaves, I would think. There's a little tiny dead leaf. Boy, there's everything in here. Quite often, it looks like what they do is they have it so far, and then they're gonna, it's in a pot that's smaller, and they're gonna ship it off. So then they just wrapped, it must have been the moss came in a sheet or something, and it looks like they just wrapped one around what was already there, with everything being left the same inside. So I really don't like to leave any of this. It's been there a long time. It's going to be acetic, but I do see lots of broken roots, but we got some nice healthy ones. There was another one there. That one ended quite nasty. But you know what I'm going to do? There's nothing real squishy here. And that's one thing, but there is lots of damage. Here's another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pot it. I'm going to let it wait till the flowers are gone. And then I will take it out the pot and give it a check. Because when you're repotting and you're going from moss to bark or bark to moss or any change in media like that, you are going to lose some roots. Some will manage to stay healthy in there, some might not. Now I've switched to the smaller pieces of bark, so I'm curious how the reaction's going to be, because I'd hate to get some of these leaves, the bottom ones, are a little wilty, but the rest are very good. I'm just going to rinse it off in the sink. It's one way of switching all that moss out of there. Boy, it was cold this morning here. It was like 4 degrees. And that was at 9 o'clock. So, yeah, winter's coming. A little hot. Let's try this right now. Woo. Oops. Lucky those things are in there. Sometimes I've taken a tweezer and gone in and picked moss out of there. Oh, there's some. What's this one? There's some strange ones. I should show you that. Now there's a strange one. It comes down. It's not soggy. It's a different color. It's white here. Then it comes down, and I don't know what was going on at the ends. The ends are not very good. I'm just going to lay it down. Lay it down. Let's take that over here. I'm messy. I'm going to lay it down. You know, I quit cutting them, and I like to leave that inner core. And I don't know, you see people doing it different ways. And so I'm just going to kind of feel through this and make sure they're all firm. There's many different colors here, but if they're all firm, I'm not going to worry. So sometime in the past, I don't know if it had an over amount of fertilizer put on it or what, but you wouldn't believe it. Poor, I just pulled on a flower there. But way down inside here, now there's a tiny little leaf, but then there's more center monopodial stem before the big leaves come. So that's been there a while. Okay, anyway, let's get it in the pot. In the pot, I have 2 pieces of broken pots in there because this is terracotta. This is a little smaller bark than I'm used to, so I'm going to put some in. It is a small pot though. I mean, we're being decorative, but as you can see, it's probably going to be really nice in there if I would quit hitting the flowers on the bottom. So some are going to go through the holes, but they'll settle themselves in there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of charcoal. If I lose some out the holes, I'm not worried, because once they settle in place, they'll be fine. So actually, roots will get light through these holes, and they will get air too. So it's good. And I like to take my fingers and try and get, I see strange things sometimes. We're not going to worry about it though. The less I cut off in the bottom, the better. Because once it's used to the media, in about 5 or 6 months, I'll unpot it, check the roots, clean it up good, put it back in. So There. Now, I'm just trying to make sure that hole that's always at the base of the stem, that some of the bark is going in there. So, in we go. I just use my finger. Now I know it's going. So I don't want to push too hard and break a root, but I want to make sure. Now it's starting to get quite stable in there. Sometimes after I've repotted an orchid, I find I haven't got it quite centered, and I'll go back and I'll push it, like I'm pushing the whole orchid back, and I'll take my fingers and I'll shake some bark down in there, and it'll help it reestablish, just kind of like I did there. That way you can get it centered. I probably soaked more bark than I needed, but that's better than sometimes I used to run out of bark. That's not good, and then I'd have to say, oh, I'll do that. I'll fix that later. So like I say, this bark is it's called medium, and it's definitely half the size of the coarse bark. But I'm thinking, it may be, because I couldn't find what I wanted, it might be a good thing. I almost bought the Orchid bark, but this is way cheaper. And I did look, and it seems like really the thing, if you've got the money to spend on a lot of orchids, that you can go ahead and do. It seemed like a good, if I couldn't have found Rexius bark again, I probably would have switched. But I'm glad I did, because I know you have to repot more, but when you don't have that many orchids, it's really not a hard thing, and it's way nicer than repotting a plant in dirt. That's what I found. So look at this. It's turned out quite nice. Yeah. So I'll be doing a little cleanup. Now, oh, there it is. What I'm going to do is get a little calcium from this, and I'm going to take some of the bigger chunks. Now, when it gets watered in the future, this will all slowly work its way through. So that's all. That's all. Sometimes I don't even put the charcoal, but if it's a longer pot and then I don't want any, it's going to sweeten it and stop it from getting sour and smelly. So there we go. It turned out quite nice, and I'm already planning a new project for some time, and I'll probably show you what I'm going to do unless anybody wants to follow along or do one. So ahead of time I'll show you what I'm going to do, give you time to get what you need, and then I won't have orchids that day, but I'll just talk about the new project for those that want to take part. So I guess I got to go outside and do some work in the yard and bundle up. So thanks for joining me. I always appreciate it. And thanks for all the comments, which I love. and oh yeah, what was his name? There is a new channel I found kind of by accident one day, and I was going to mention the name of it, but maybe I'll put it in a note on the beginning of the comments. I'll put it in a note because it's interesting. He's in Calgary, and he's growing some Phalaenopsis from seeds and stuff like that. And I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. But anyway, I will get back to you on that. If not in the comment, I will definitely do it in the next video, but I will leave a little thing in the comment. So you might want to check it out. I think he's just started maybe with just a few views, but very interesting. I enjoyed it, and so it might be one you might want to check out too. So yeah, he was talking about the leaves of your orchids, and his are wonderful. There's like lots of leaves, and he's saying maybe they're supposed to have lots of leaves. Quite often you read, oh, they're only supposed to have 4 or 5 leaves. Well, I'll tell you, like These ones have lots of leaves. These ones have lots of leaves. And maybe they can have more leaves if they're looked after properly. So, yeah, it was interesting. So I will get back to you, and I appreciate you joining me. And I hope you have some fun doing a dirty pour and making yourself a flower pot. So anyway, bye for now, and have coffee time and take a break. Have some fun.